Okay, I'm very quickly going to introduce Project ACCoRD. It's great to see so many people here, both from last meeting in Edinburgh and also new faces around. I'm Dr. Ellul from University College London. This is my colleague Katie Buntic, and we've got 3 other colleagues in the room. And you guys just stick your hands up. Shipra, Michelle, and James. A quick reminder, stroke introduction for those of you who are new to NFCS. ACCoRD, what we're trying to do with the project is look specifically at something that underpins all the infrastructure work that everyone's been discussing in the last day or so. And that is how we get data into the system somehow. And there's a lot of high-level motivation for this, but actually, I think as a researcher, I also see in the sense that the bottom-up motivation is that not being able to access data because it's blocked by the contracting process of getting access to that data is a great barrier to research. And we've heard some quite, I guess, horror stories would not even be an understatement, about how long it sometimes takes researchers to get access to data. So there's all the high-level motivation that you can see on the screen, but there's also a very much lower level individual motivation of why we're doing the project around research data contracting. So this is a quote from our survey. Data sharing should be smooth, but the word dreading has been used. I'm dreading starting a new process because of getting access to the data. So it's we've had a lot of unfortunately quite strong and negative experiences with data access. So what we're doing in ACCoRD, we've taken 2 pillars. We're looking at both the community side of contracting and also the governance side of contracting, and we're delivering on both of those things. We launched in August, and we're sort of about halfway through, I guess, the project, and we've had a community drive, and we've got around 75 now sign-ups, of which around 60 of them have shown great determination to not only be involved in our project, but have said, yes, absolutely, we want to be involved in the long term. So we've got a live community ready to go, signed up, all ethics approved, let's go with it. What's been interesting around the community as well is the sheer diversity of roles and role descriptions, and I've got a lovely, it's probably the most colourful pie chart you've ever seen. Just of some of them, this is not even the full representation of the different stakeholders and the words that I use that they use to describe themselves and their roles and so on and so forth. So we've had the community, we've done a lot of community engagement, we've had 2 workshops and 1 webinar so far. We've got 850 data points around challenges and good practice and research data contracting workflows that we are currently processing. And we've launched a survey, which is what we're going to present the results of today. And for that, I'm going to hand over to Katie.
Hello everyone, hi, I'm Katie. I'm a research data steward at UCL. So I'm going to be talking through some of the ACCoRD survey emerging findings and reflections. So this is a midpoint summary of what we have found so far in running the ACCoRD survey. So we don't have any solutions yet, we've just got lots and lots of data which I'll try and run through in these few minutes. So why did we run the survey? So the main reason we ran the ACCoRD survey was to gather evidence to support the development of a future national framework for research data contracting and to help build a community of practitioners. So like Claire said, we've got more than 70 sign-ups so far. So how did we develop the survey? So it's developed from existing evidence, so early project conversations, the ACCoRD team expertise, and real contracting challenges. So we tried to design it to reflect real practice and not just theory. So what did the survey involve? So it involved 30 questions across 6 sections. So we had 59 clicks and then 27 people completed the whole survey. So we had lots of information. And thanks to some of you, I think you completed the survey. So big thanks. So in terms of respondents' roles, So some of the roles identified were research contracts and legal specialists. We had project managers and process managers, researchers and PIs. We have people working in data acquisition, licensing and supply, technical and data governance advisors too. But we also have many hybrid roles, so people often sitting between those roles. And experience range from new starters to people working it for over 20 years in that role. In terms of educational background, so most people came from a humanities background, interestingly, and then law background, then biology, and then a huge range of backgrounds. So there was no sort of one route to these roles. And then training. So interestingly, most people stated that they had no sort of role relevant training to go into these fields. But some people said they had law degrees, MBAs, but there was a strong theme of just on the job learning. And then the types of data varied massively. So it could be almost anything, but it was mainly sensitive data. So lots of sort of medical data, education data, sexual health. So yeah, huge range. So we also asked respondents to sort of take a step back and map who they actually work with throughout the contract negotiations, including people that work behind the scenes. And it just showed that sort of contracting is a hugely networked process, but the roles and responsibilities aren't always clear. So there are usually blockers in place and key questions over who's leading, who signs off, and who carries risks. So these are where the sort of the delays happen. So these are some sort of quotes that came up throughout the process that sort of summarize the problems. I'll just speed through this. So this was the process mapping, which is extremely simplified. So there are usually lots of loops in place. So respondents describe many variations on this process. So steps often overlap or repeat, and the ownership shifts between teams. So there is some good practice. So there were some good stories as well. So people stated that early engagement with the right stakeholders helped, clear articulation and a shared understanding. So some examples were having sort of team calls rather than emails, so improving that communication. All relevant parties understanding both the nature of the data and the nature of the research process. This is where some people said that maybe a bridge role would really help. So roles were really clear, PIs were good at responding to queries, large contract team and some mutual benefits as well. And there were many challenges that came up. So in terms of unclear ownership and roles, so people said that there were ambiguity over who leads, so not sure who has the decision-making authority and responsibilities, so that's a big blocker. Insufficient or inconsistent information, so poor early scoping and lack of context, so then that has blockers later down the line. And differing interpretations of data use, so anonymization and risk. And then contractor rigidity, so prolonged disputes over liabilities, indemnities, terms of use, publication rights, and non-negotiable templates. And of course, capacity turnover, so limited staff capacity, handover gaps, long approval queues, and then lastly, external dependency and sees and misaligned incentives. So data provider reluctance came up as a big challenge, and third-party constraints and lack of perceived benefits to external organisations. So lastly, so when asked about a framework, so respondents stated that a framework should reduce ambiguity and loops and not add another layer. So they didn't want new terms. They were asking for existing provisions to be applied more clearly, consistently and proportionately. So some final suggestions. So to have clear ownership and accountability, a set of model clauses or templates, agreements, someone who understands and cares about research, a shift from risk aversion to research facilitation, continuity planning, and people who understand the data, technical aspects of accessing the data and the legal governance side. So that bridge role. Thank you.
One more slide from us. Next step, we have a few more workshops to finalise the project. In particular, and I suspect there aren't any here, anyone a member of the Association of University Legal Practitioners? They should be in the room. I mean, we laugh, but they actually should be in the room. We've got a specific workshop with them in March. We've got a final ACCoRD road mapping workshop, when we want to bring you guys together with them on the 14th of May in person in London and in High Holborn in London. So please do join our community via the QR code. We've got so far, very unusual 2-to-1 female to male ratio in the community. And we've also got, and we're very pleased about this piece, some very, very senior members of research management and research contracting teams who, as I said at the beginning, have volunteered to take this work not only forward in our project, but forward into the future as well. So please do join. Thank you.